Welcome back again, everybody, to our time to talk about what is coming up this Sunday in the sermon. So, as you know, we're in the throes of the Gospel of Matthew, and it's been great to go through it so far. We've gone through the first 4 chapters, and I've learned a lot. I hope that you have as well as you are reading along with us, I hope. I'm going to lay out that challenge again. I want everybody to read along with us. Read chapter 5 this week, because that's where we're going to be. If you're behind, catch up. We're not that far. You can read 5 chapters like that, I have no doubt. So catch up, go along with us, because I think you're really going to be enriched if you read as well, instead of just hearing me talk about it. But for this week, what we're going to focus on with chapter 5, most of you know that chapter 5 begins the 3-chapter Sermon on the Mount that Jesus gives through 5, 6, and 7. There's way too much for me to cover. I just, it's impossible for me to get to it all. So we're going to do chapter 5, then chapter 6, and then chapter 7, 3 weeks successively. For chapter 5 this week, there's still so much for me to cover. I just can't get to it all. So I'm going to focus on the Beatitudes. Those are the first about 11, 12 verses. I'm going to read probably through about verse 20, but the majority of my time is going to be focused on the Beatitudes. I think it's interesting that Jesus begins his sermon this way, with focusing on these, blessed is the one who, because, well, we're going to dive into that Sunday, but I'll give you a little taste. I think the things that Jesus is saying is actually they're actually very, very countercultural. They go against the grain of everything that kind of, as humans, we believe to be true about ourselves. Jesus says to be peaceful, but what do most of us want to do when somebody comes at us, when somebody attacks us? We want to hit back, right? We want to jump back into that fray and just knock them out if we can with our words, or even with our fists sometimes. So everything that Jesus talks about is just so countercultural, and it was then, and it is now. So Matthew chapter 5, I know that you're going to be blessed if you join us in reading it, in preparing for the sermon this Sunday. I'm really looking forward to getting into this material, because I don't know, this sermon, it's no surprise that this is such a famous sermon. It cuts to the core of everything that we're supposed to be as the true humanity. And we talked about that this last week with chapter 4, and I'll end here. We talked about Jesus being the true humanity, how he showed himself to be that when he remained faithful in the wilderness during his wilderness wandering, as we, connected it to the Israelites. That's what we're meant to do. And so now he's giving us the instruction for how to do that. How do we remain faithful to God, even in the midst of cultures and times and places that don't want us to be? So big questions, important questions to think about and to talk about. So read chapter 5 and let's dive into it together this week and really just soak up Jesus' words into our lives. All right, have a great rest of the week. Go with God and be well, and I will see you hopefully on Sunday.